Morley Scott from 630 Ched. McLeod, welcome to Edmonton. First off, tell me how this deal came together and why you and the Elks was a good mix.
There's a lot of factors that came into it. I think more than you maybe can name in one answer. But Jerry Jackson is a huge reason for that. Marcus Howell is a huge reason. Speaking with G. Roy Simon and having those conversations is a huge reason. Coach Jones is a huge reason. Trey Ford is a huge reason. The roster that's been built on that team is a huge reason. It's opportunity to play football again. My family and football are the two things that kind of lead all my decisions. Coming down the States last year was great for my family and having them close. Unfortunately, the pay salary didn't change down here in that league. And other opportunities didn't pop up, and so it was possible with conversations with my family to make a CFL push again. And Edmonton was a place that felt like home. And it's a place that we can go chase a Grey Cup. When you have players like Gino Lewis and the talented Stephen Core, et cetera, it's an exciting place to go chase a ring.
Tell me about your year last year in the USFL, maybe a little bit on why you went that route for a year and why you decided to come back.
There's two reasons: is football and family. Like I just said in the last answer, it was closer to home. My wife was working on a production there in Atlanta. It was an opportunity to chase an NFL dream that has been long in the making. I spent 6 years in the NFL before I ever got to the CFL. So it was an opportunity to expose myself to some great experiences there, play for a good organization and a good coach there, and meet some really great people. And do it closer to home. So I know my football journey is not over. And I never, even last year when I was leaving, I knew my CFL journey wasn't over. It just wasn't available for last year. So I'm very excited about this year and these 18 games, hopefully 21 games going forward as an Edmonton Elk. And that's what my focus is on.
All right. Thanks very much.
Justin, go ahead.
Hey, McLeod, Justin Dunk, 3downNation.com. How did some of those NFL conversations go? Was it ever close to you getting in a building or signing a contract or anything like that?
Oh yeah, very close, very close. And those conversations are still there. They still, multiple teams are very interested. With the NFL experience, there's so many facets that I could talk about. The age is a big factor in the NFL building right now because GMs are very worried about protecting their job because it's an often a year-to-year job and they're protecting their interests. So for them to invest in an older player rather than trying to develop a 22-year-old that is not at the same level, they don't see that as viable. So there's 1,000 reasons why it didn't work out. I would wanted to go into an NFL opportunity to play. I wasn't looking just to be on a roster. So there were opportunities to go places and to sign deals, but it was kind of a dead end rather than playing the game of football. I only have so many years playing. So that didn't manifest where a team was ready to invest in something that they saw as an elder statesman now, I guess. So none of those worked out. And there's still great conversations, and I still have a lot of connections and a lot of places to go post-career. And still, doors that are open, but it didn't work out this last year, and that was really frustrating. But what I can only concentrate is what's in front of me, and that's an Edmonton season, and I'm really excited to get going.
When you say dead end in reference to the NFL, do you mean like there are opportunities there to be a backup or join the practice roster?
Yeah, a lot of practice roster stuff. It makes sense to be to have a veteran. When I left the NFL, I came up to Canada because they had a rule that you only had a certain amount of practice squad eligibility left. So I ran out of practice squad eligibility. So that's why I came to the CFL in the begin with is because I didn't have a space. And so to go back down there to be back on a practice roster just didn't make that much sense. So I wanted to be in a position where I could actually play. And the only thing left on my resume I feel left is a Super Bowl. So that's still something that I wanted to chase and wanted to go get. But it didn't manifest. And what I want to talk about and focus on is the season in front of me and how thankful I am for the Edmonton investing in me. And I'm thankful for the CFL as a league. And I like I always do, I want to treat the game right. I love the CFL game. I love the CFL culture. I love the CFL players. And I will bring my all to it. And I promise to make it a better league.
One more, and then I'll let the other guys jump in. But I think when you left the CFL, you said that you'd only ever want to play for the Argos. How did that change in your mind?
Well, I mean, the Argos are great. I love the Argos. I still love the Argos. Obviously, that organization is in a different place. And what an amazing year they had last year. And it was so cool to watch from afar, almost as a fan. So that organization is in a different place. And I'm happy to have been a part of that. Like, look what they've built, look what they've turned into, what we've turned. We turned. I was part of that as well. So that organization is just in a different space. So I'm happy to go to Edmonton and build something there. And with the young talent that's on that roster, it truly could be something that's sustainable for the long term. And that's something I feel like I'm well equipped to build.
Thanks, McLeod.
Slav, go ahead.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're a Grey Cup. That's our focus. That's why you start every season, is to shoot for the top. And with the roster that's been built there, and the coaching staff that's already in place, we're in position to do that. And that's one of the beautiful things about the CFL game, is teams have often gone from not very good records to very good records to contenders. And you see that happening on a year in and year out basis. So that's part of the exciting part about the CFL. And with the people that are in that building in Edmonton, I think we're positioned to do that. And I'm excited to build that brick by brick. And it takes one moment at a time and one day at a time. And so just focusing on what I can do today to build that long-term dream. It's huge. You understand the marathon that it is to win a CFL Grey Cup. It's not an easy journey. And it's one that you have to be playing your best ball and have the momentum late in the year. You saw that late last year with who won that Grey Cup and how they did it. And it is a marathon. It is a long journey, and just having experience being on two Grey Cup, championship teams, and two very different experiences and two very different seasons. You know the ingredients that it takes to build that recipe, and how that stew needs to be marinating for months and months at a time, and so many eyes and so much blood, sweat, and tears need to pour into that soup, and it needs to work for months and months at a time before you can come to fruition to call yourself champions.
Dave Campbell, go ahead.
Hey, McLeod, Dave Campbell from 630 Ched. Congrats on the deal with the Elks. And just want to ask your familiarity with some of the coaches, especially your offensive coordinator, Jarius Jackson, from your time in 21 with the Argos, and what you see from him that you think excites you about playing for him and playing for this offense.
Yeah, he was a huge catalyst, probably the catalyst to kind of initiate this whole process, is because of our time in Toronto together, and we became really close, and we worked well with each other, and iron sharpens iron. We know that we can depend on each other, we can lean on each other, but we also can challenge each other too. And we're really excited for that. Jarius knows he can coach me really, really, really hard, and he expects an elite level play, and I'm going to give him that elite level play on a down in, down out basis. So that relationship was huge. I'm very excited for all the things he brings to it. I mean, he played the game at a high level, and so he understands what it takes from a player's perspective. And now he's coaching at a high level. So he has that experience as well. And same with Coach Howell as well. He played it at a high level and is now coaching. So there's a lot of really amazing coaches in that building. And I'm excited to get on board and to build a championship run.
When you look at the playmakers on offense, Kevin Brown's your running back, and you got Gino Lewis and Dylan Mitchell as receivers. Gavin Cobb's a young Canadian. As a quarterback, how does that help you, especially someone like Gino, who always says, I'm a 90-10 guy, I'm not a 50-50 guy?
Because he is, and he's not lying when he says that. So Gino's an unbelievable playmaker. He's proved to be one of the elite playmakers in this league for a long, long time. I've always wanted to be on the same team with him. I see him make those amazing catches. And it's always been something like, man, I'd love to throw the ball to that guy. So, but there's weapons all across board, to what you alluded to, into its running back position, D Mitch. There's players, and I wouldn't be going to a roster that felt like it was a rebuild. This is a roster primed to be a threat and to be a really good team in this league.
Thank you, McLeod.
Dan Ralph, go ahead.
Morning, McLeod. What sort of mentorship can you offer a young guy like Trey Ford?
I'm very excited to work with Trey. I spoke with him earlier this morning. And obviously, I again give him space to express his disappointment. Obviously he's planning to play this year, and he will play in this league for a long, long time. And I want to cultivate that relationship very purposely. And I want to give him everything I possibly can. You see the magic, you see what he can do off script, and so it's about me helping him build a script on a play-to-play basis, so he has something to fall back to, and a process to go through on a play-in, play-out basis. And then when things do break down, he can do his magic and do the off script stuff at a high level. So very excited to work with him. Very excited to turn him into an even better player than he already is, and give him that structure that he hasn't had yet. He hasn't had a veteran yet to kind of show him the ropes, and he's done so well just off natural ability. And I'm so excited to get in the building with him and pick his brain and see how he sees the game and how I can help. And I made 1,000 mistakes, so hopefully, about maybe half of those he doesn't have to make, and he can kind of skip some steps and get ahead of the game, because he's going to be a great player in this league for a long time.
McLeod, can you draw a parallel between this situation and you and Chad in 2022?
Sure. I mean, I think in hindsight, maybe you can. This is a little bit different situation because Trey has played and he's been in the league. Chad wasn't in the league, so he was a bit of more of an unknown. But it was great to see Chad have the year he had last year. And I felt, prideful in watching him play and operate at the level that he did. And so you maybe even ahead of the curve, even more with a guy like Trey. So how can I kind of see how he's seeing the game first, and then be like, oh, let's see it this way, or this is an advantage. If you see this guy here, but this is going to take you to a different position. So very excited to give him everything I possibly can. And you see that as a recipe. I mean, to be honest, like the Patrick Mahomes of the world, or the Aaron Rodgers, or all, even the guys in the CFL, Trevor Harris, all the guys that sat behind a veteran for a year or two to saw it how he saws it, and they can see the mistakes and see how to correct them. And they called it, that's how you build a championship quarterback. And I'm excited to be that for Trey, so that he can be on a solid footing. He can have clear eyes. He can have an open heart to go attack the rest of his career and be a dynamic player in this league for a long time.
Terrific. Thank you so much.
Justin, go ahead.
McLeod, I'm curious, what other CFL teams were in the mix pushing to sign you?
Yeah, there were a number. I don't want to name them to throw anybody a bus, because it's water under the bridge. But there were a couple, and Edmonton ended up coming the hardest and the strongest, and it felt the most comfortable and made the most sense. So that's where I am now. But I was very grateful to have the interest that I had, and talking with with the personnel people across the league, it warmed my heart to hear the respect that the league had for me. Because I have been through the trials, and I feel like I did it the right way, and I feel like I built this thing the right way. So it felt really good to hear the respect I had across the league and the interest I had. And I hope to continue to that until treat the game right and play it the right way and give it everything I have and build something special here in Edmonton that will continue the legacy.
You mentioned I think your first answer, Trey being one of the reasons that you signed with Edmonton. And I don't know if you've kind of already answered this already, but why was he one of those reasons?
Well, that's what you need in a championship team, right? Or that's what you do as a leader, as a quarterback, as a mentor, is you make it sustainable. You build a culture that can go on beyond you, and it can be held up by someone else after you're done, And so to see if Trey's that guy that can lead a franchise, and how I can feed into him. And when you see a young player that has that kind of magic, but is maybe, a little inexperienced or make some things, it's like, well, how can I help that? How can I make this league a better league? There's so many people that they're trying to tear down the CFL, and I just think it's such a beautiful league, and I see Trey as one of the factors as the future of this. So how can I get in there and have a positive impact and make this league a better place when I'm done for the players behind me, because I'm so grateful for this league and what it's provided for my career. And by no doubt do I think I'm the guy to lead this team to a Grey Cup, but it's also about a sustaining legacy and something that how can I help this kid be a better player on the flip side.
How long do you personally plan to play in the CFL or professionally?
you're challenging my ego there until they rip the cleats from my body. I think I could play forever, but that's the craziness in me. So I haven't decided that. It's very much a family decision. That's based on my family dynamic and my structure, and that was the reason why I didn't play in the CFL last year. So that's all dependent on our circumstances outside of the football game. But in terms of my body and my structure, I feel like I could play till I'm 50. But that's the crazy man talking.
That'd be unreal. If I can ask you one more, McLeod, there were some people that I was talking to around the league that said that you had too much respect for Jeremiah Masoli to potentially entertain going to Ottawa. Is that on point, or what's your take on that?
I love Jeremiah. I truly love that man as a brother, and I'm excited for him. I know he's coming back and after a hard couple years, and I'm really excited for him to get back on and to at least leave the game standing strong on two strong legs. So truly love that man as a brother. I think he's been a dynamic player in this league, and unfortunately we've seen the injuries the last couple of years. It just makes you sick. So I truly hope he can have a really healthy, successful year this year.
Thanks, McLeod.
Any more questions? Just use the raise hand function. We'll get to you. If not, we can wrap this up. We'll give it just a few more seconds here. I see Justin there again. Justin, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just curious, McLeod, who are you training with down there at UCLA?
Anybody, everybody. The LA is such a mecca. It's like just a training hotbed of so many different pros from the NFL, CFL, and so everyone's coming back now. It's the new year, so the NFL guys won't be here for another month or so. But there's a number of quarterbacks and receivers that I work with there, and right now I'm working with a couple guys that are going off to the UFL. So getting them ready, and then obviously the college kids are out here as they trickle back into school. So LA there's a personal trainer on every corner. So yeah, it's wild out here. It's the wild, wild west.
You do most of your on-field training there at UCLA?
I will this spring. Yes, I'll do the majority of my on-field this spring here at UCLA. I have a number of resources here, fortunately, but this spring I'll be here at UCLA.
Awesome. Thanks again.